Nightcrawler is directed by Dan Gilroy and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, and this review is in anticipation for Dan Gilroy's new film Velvet Buzzsaw, which also stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo. And finally, I have an excuse to talk about this film because I've wanted to talk about it for quite some time now, and I finally have my excuse. I've been a big fan of Gyllenhaal for quite some time, so naturally I'm very excited for the Velvet Buzzsaw, and I was very excited about this film as well. This film is shot in the streets of LA, and Gyllenhaal's character, Louis Bloom, is looking for a job. He comes across this new career as a cameraman for TV news as a stringer. And so he sells footage to Rene Russo's character, but becomes really good at what he does. In fact, he becomes so extremely obsessed with it after recording violent events. First of all, the first thing that I must say about this film is the promotion of it. The marketing for this film is absolute genius. If you watch the teaser trailer for this film, honestly, I don't understand how you won't get goosebumps, because honestly, every time I watch it, it's my favorite trailer. Nightcrawler, the teaser trailer, it's incredible. It's so dramatic and intense. The production company for this film, Open Road Films, they utilize the viral marketing technique such as a video resume on Craigslist with fake profiles for Lou's character. I think I love that. It's such a cool technique to make to sell your film. But I finally have an excuse to talk about the film, and of course, with spoilers. First things first, Gyllenhaal in this film gives his best performance. It's his best performance, but his best film in his career is Prisoners, in my humble opinion. I just don't see Gyllenhaal in this film at all. Like I said before in countless reviews, that is the best praise that I can give to an actor. You see the character. For every film that Gyllenhaal has been in, you see the character. Prisoners, Demolition, Southpaw, Brothers, Wildlife. I'm not even bothered anymore that the Academy just continue to ignore him every single year. I mean, I'm just used to it now, because if they didn't nominate him for this film, they're just not going to nominate him for any other. So we just have to deal with that. This guy, nonetheless, is a master in acting. He picks the best scripts, Zodiac, Prisoners, I can go on and on. He is a master in acting. Aside from the weight loss, I just don't see him in this movie. He really is a psychopath. This man does not need face paint and makeup to play the Joker. Because in this film, he really is that. He really is that. He is this sadistic, narcissistic sociopath. That sort of sums it up. Louis Bloom's character will do anything for money. That's his drive. That's his American dream. He would go so far beyond the line. He is so good at what he does. He's so dedicated to it. But that is the interesting thing about this film. This film seems like an origin story for a villain, basically. It's like a villain story. And throughout the entire film, you're wondering, who is the main antagonist of this film? It's Gyllenhaal. He is the main villain in his own damn movie. He is an anti-hero. He is doing all these terrible things like moving bodies to get a better shot for his advantage, using people for his own good. But you want to get behind him. You want to support him. You want him to succeed. And that's the brilliance of this film. It's phenomenal because the character is just so phenomenal. The script, the screenplay for developing this character, it's jaw-dropping. It's because of the writing in this film that you get behind this character from just the first minute when you see this person on screen. It's genius. The dialogue for this film, it's on point. There are so many memorable lines that I can think of, and I can just go on and on. But one of my favorites is when he is just explaining, I think you see this in the first look teaser, he's explaining why he wants a job. Despite being an anti-hero film, it's very motivating to watch this film. There's one scene in particular in which Lou describes how ambitious he actually is. And I always look up to that. The speech he gives, it's just fantastic. It's when he's talking to Rene Russo's character as to what sort of experiences that he did that would make him be in television news. And that speech he gave was incredible. There are so many great moments that make this film the highlight of 2014. There are many comedic moments that I managed to chuckle quite a bit because it's a very, if anything, it's a dark comedy. That's the thing. It's a very dark, humorous film. It's not really comedy, but you manage to laugh at a few scenes. And that's the thing. The writing is everything in this film. It's dark, it's funny, it's seriously messed up, it's terrifying. There are some very horror conventions as well, but that is the brilliance. Dan Gilroy, his vision is so original and unique that's what makes it stand out. But I have to say one thing, Riz Ahmed, this guy surprised the hell out of me. The chemistry between him and Gyllenhaal, perfection throughout the entire film. But for most of the time, I was there, man. I was just so enthralled throughout the entire film. But away from all this, the film explores a big theme with the relationship between unethical journalism and crime. And you see this with Louis Bloom's character. He's interfering in crime scenes, he's moving the body around for his own advantage. He's doing all these sadistic stuff, but you still want to get behind him. What I think is that the film targets journalists who exaggerate and really show a lack of factual knowledge in the news that they present to the mass media, as a way to obviously increase their viewership and have more money. And you see that in Rene Russo's character throughout the film. I've never really watched the news. I don't really like watching the news. I don't like news, and I think that this film explains why that is. I've always wondered, where do all these footage come from? You know, who does it? I mean, the film perfectly points that out. And I read in an interview between Dan Gilroy and his brother and Jake Gyllenhaal in a magazine interview, and he really points this out. And he says, we are part of the system. Whatever is being fed to us, we consume it like fast food. It keeps coming because we demand it. And I think that Gilroy points out that because we are obviously watching all these news stories and crime scenes in the news stories, or whatever it may be, crime within the news stories, because of that, we continue to encourage this style of journalism, which is quite frankly unethical. This is unethical journalism, and it's growing quite a bit. But let's go back to some great scenes in the film. For example, the mirror scene. This is brilliant. If you really listen closely to what's actually being said in the background of this scene, and Gyllenhaal is just in his own thoughts. And if you really listen to what is being said in the TV background, this foreshadows what we're actually going to see. Gyllenhaal acting like a complete psychopath. He screams at the mirror, and he did that scene while brutally cutting himself accidentally. And you see that in the scene, but he keeps going on, and it's just brilliant. It works. It really does work. And I really love the fact that Gilroy puts that little foreshadow technique there. I thought that was really, really cool. The soundtrack, once again, guys, I have to talk about the soundtrack because it's composed by James Newton Howard, who is a genius. Again, I can't stop saying great things about this composer. He is a master at what he does. The score is so captivating and so very motivating as well. Whenever I'm doing work or going out for a walk, I feel so good when listening to the score. It's great. It's sometimes brutal as well, but I listen to it most of the time when I'm going for a walk or whatever it is I'm doing. But nonetheless, guys, I love this film. It is a fantastic film. It did everything for me, and that's why I couldn't be more excited for Velvet Buzzsaw, because it has not only my favorite actor, but one of these great rising directors of our time, which is Dan Gilroy. And I'm going to give Nightcrawler a perfect A+. It's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it already, go see it, and then go see Velvet Buzzsaw. I can't wait, guys. What are your thoughts? Comment down below, and I'll see you very soon.